Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 18th of August 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and the most important current affairs. So watch this video till last. I am requesting you all the students to download our application. Application name is Careers Cloud and you can download from the description box link. After downloading, you can log in with your email ID and after login, you can click on this crack current affairs section to subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 years. But both the subscription prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise. But the most important thing that we are covering 90 to 95% of the current affair which can very useful for every type of exam, and we are covering very important topics for every type of exam. But how we are covering this current affair? We are providing you daily section. In the daily section, you will receive three type of things. One is detailed current affair, question and answer format of current affair. Third is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on daily basis. Next is the weekly section. Again, we are providing three type of things. One is the detailed current affair, question and answer format, and the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on weekly basis. Most important section here is the monthly section, and we are providing four type of PDFs. One is the detailed current affair, question and answer format of current affair, best 100 current affair, that is also provided in the form of question and answer, and the pocket PDF. It means the 2-liner and the 3-liners current affair will be provided to you so that you can revise the current affair very quickly before your exam. But to enhance your performance further, we are also providing topic wise current affair, and we are covering 20 most important topics which are very important for every type of exam. It means if you want to cover all the news related to one topic, then you can use one PDF. It means the topic wise PDF. So if you want to revise particular topic, then you can use these type of PDFs. And if you are a banking aspirant, then we are providing three things. One is the detail, second is the question and answer format of current affairs only related to banking and economy, and third is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on monthly basis, and this is also only related to banking and economy. And guys, if you want to cover all the past current affair of 2021 just from single PDF, then you can use this exam PDF. And we are providing detailed budget and economic survey and expected question and answer which examiner can ask from budget and economic survey. And if you are preparing for your state exam, then we are also providing state current affair, and the most important thing that we are covering every state and union territory. So there is no different subscription of these topics. We are providing all these things under one subscription. You have to just download our application Careers Cloud from the description box link, and you can log in with the email ID and you can click on this crack current affair section to subscribe our current affair for 1 year as well as for 2 years. If you are a beginner and if you are just starting the current affairs, then I am advising you to subscribe these current affairs for 2 years. The price is almost low, and we are also providing 10% extra discount on that minimal price if you use this code ASH10. And if you have any query, you can also email us on this email ID or you can call us on this number. So let's start today's current affair, that is 18th of August 2021. But I am again requesting you all the students that you have to like this video, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. And you can join a Telegram group from the description box link. So let's start with the most important question section, and here is the first question. Who won gold medal in the individual category in the 16th edition of World Archery Youth Championship 2021? So the most important thing, the name of the championship, it is World Archery Youth Championship, and it is the 16th edition, and it is hosted by which country? It is hosted by Poland. You can also remember, examiner can ask this hosting country. And name of this gold medalist individual player category is the Komalika Bari. So you can remember, name is Komalika Bari, and she belongs to Jamshedpur. She belongs to Jamshedpur. Jamshedpur is in Jharkhand. So you can remember this. Now you can also see here, Youth World Archery Championship. It is hosted by Poland, and India finishes its campaign with 8 gold, 2 silver and 5 bronze. But you have to remember, in the individual category, India won only 1 gold. But in the, you can say, team event, India won 4 gold, and in the mixed event, India won 3 gold. So total golds are 8. So you can remember 8 gold, 2 silver and 5 bronze. And you can also see here, exact places, you can say Rokla, but it is situated in Poland. You can just remember the name of the country. And India topped the medals tally with 15 medals. It means out of all the countries, India topped this medal list with the 15 medals, like 8 gold, 2 silver and 5 bronze. And you can see here, Komalika Bari, women's junior recurve, and she won the gold medal. and Sakshi Chaudhary and Priya Gujjar, and both won silver medal. It means 2 silver medals. You can also see this. Sakshi Chaudhary and Priya Gujjar won the silver medal. And guys, remember, it was organized by World Archery Federation, the governing body of the sport of archery, and junior events were held for those aged under 20 years and the cadet event for those below the age of 18. Remember, junior event below the age of 20 and cadet event below the age of 18. And it included recurve and compound archery games for both junior and the cadet groups. And you can remember Komalika Bari belongs to which state? She belongs to Jharkhand. So guys, this is important, but you have to remember about the Archery Association of India, because this is important, and this is the only organization to manage the archery in India, and president is Arjun Munda. You can remember Arjun Munda, and headquarters is in New Delhi. And you can also remember about World Archery Federation, because it was organized by World Archery Federation, who is the governing body of the sport of the archery. And World Archery Federation was established in 1931. Its headquarters is in Lausanne. Lausanne is in which country? It is in Switzerland. So guys, remember these things, but you have to remember in individual category, gold won by Komalika Bari. Now we can move to the next question. Which city from India ranked as the most polluted city in the world in 2020? Guys, most important, because it is the most polluted city in the world in 2020 in India. I am only talking about India, according to House Fresh 50 most polluted city report. So guys, you have to remember, this is one of the Britain organization, which is House Fresh, and this company released a report which is known as 50 most polluted cities report. And out of India, if I am considering only India, then the city is Ghaziabad, and in overall list, Ghaziabad placed on the second place. So guys, you can remember, very important question. And overall, China's Hotan or the Hotan most polluted city in 2022, Ghaziabad overall rank is second. So you can remember this. And guys, you can see here, it is a British company which named as House Fresh, and this company has released a report on 50 most polluted cities. And this report full title is the world's best and the worst towns and the cities for clean air. It means this company or this organization also released the cleanest cities according to the pollution level. And China's Hotan city in the Xinjiang province topped the list and was adjudged as the most polluted city. And guys, you can also remember Hotan, the air pollution of this city is mainly because of, you can say, local sandstorms. Local sandstorms, because the city is near to the Taklamakan desert. You can remember Taklimakan or the Taklamakan desert, which is in China, world largest shifting sand desert. So this is very important. That's why the pollution level is so much high in the Hotan city. And Ghaziabad was ranked on the second position. This is again very important, because this is the world list, and the high level of the air pollution of the city was mainly contributed by the vast traffic pollution. So it is due to traffic pollution. So out of 50 most polluted city of the world, 49 out of 50, 49 belongs to only Bangladesh, China, Pakistan and India. So you can see these are the neighboring countries: Bangladesh, China, Pakistan and India. Out of 50, 49 countries belong to these four nations. So this is again very important. And guys, next question. This organization or this company also released the country-wise list. So most polluted country all over world is Bangladesh. So again, very important question, even most important question. So you have to remember the answer is Bangladesh. You can also see here, as per the report, India became the third most polluted country because second rank goes to Pakistan. Second most polluted country is Pakistan, third is India, fourth is Mongolia, but you have to remember first is Bangladesh. This is very, very important. And even countries with less than 5 cities were not included in the list. Not included in the list. And House Fresh has prepared the report on the world's best and the worst places for the clean air in 2020 based on the average air quality index of particulate matter 2.5 by collecting data from the Swiss air quality expert IQ Air. IQ Air. So you can also remember this. And guys, you can see here the most polluted cities. One is the Hotan city in China, if we are comparing the cities list. Second rank goes to Ghaziabad, we already covered. Third is Manikganj, which is situated in Bangladesh. So you have to remember these three cities. And if we are talking about the world cleanest cities according to the pollution level, then it is Tasmanian city, Jadbury. It is situated in Australia because Tasmania is a part of Australia. Next is Koilakona. It is in Hawaii in United States. Next is Muonio, Finland. But you have to remember about the polluted cities because this can be asked if we are comparing with the cleanest cities. So, but you have to remember the first only. You can remember first only. And guys, recently the question related to this quality index, that is known as 2020 World's Air Quality Report. World's Air Quality Report. You can remember this. This is again very important. This report is basically released by IQ Air. This is Swiss Air Technology Company, and India was ranked third most polluted country in the world in 2020 after Bangladesh and Pakistan. Again, India's rank is on the third position according to IQ Air report, and first rank again Bangladesh, second again Pakistan. So it is same. And Delhi has the most polluted capital city. Remember, Delhi was the most polluted capital city for the third consecutive time. It was followed by Dhaka. Dhaka is on the second position, and third is or you can say second is on the Ulaanbaatar. So you can remember first is Dhaka, second is Ulaanbaatar, and Delhi is on the first position. So Delhi is on the first, Dhaka is on the second, and Ulaanbaatar is on the third. So it is IQ Air report. So you can remember this question because this is the most important question. Moving to next section or the next question. Exercise Konkan 2021, a bilateral naval exercise held between Indian and which country navy? Again, very important, you have to remember the name of the exercise. It is Konkan 2021, guys. Konkan 2021. And this is a bilateral naval exercise held between the Indian Navy and the Royal Navy of the Britain in United Kingdom. This exercise was held in United Kingdom and it is with the Navy of Britain. So answer of this question is A. So you can see here INS Tabar from Indian side participated in the exercise Konkan 2021 with Britain Royal Navy, and Konkan is basically a name of the western coast area from Mumbai to Goa. This is known as the Konkan coast, and it aims to enhance synergy and the cooperation between both the navies by default. And Indian naval ship INS Tabar, a Talwar class stealth frigate of Indian Navy, and you can say participated in the exercise in the non-contact form due to COVID-19 pandemic. So you have to remember from Britain side it is HMS Westminster of the Royal Navy undertook this exercise, but it is a contactless exercise formed due to COVID-19 pandemic. You can also remember about INS Tabar. It is the third ship of the Talwar class frigate of the Indian Navy, and it is on a 4-month deployment from June to September. We already covered this question. From June to September across Africa and the Europe. During the deployment from June to September, INS Tabar will make several visits like PASES exercise and bilateral exercise like Varuna with the France, and exercise Indra with the Russia. So you can remember this is very important because recently these exercises conducted with INS Tabar. And guys, you can also remember about the UK exercises which we already conducted. One is the exercise Konkan. Yes, we today covered this. And next you have to remember exercise Indradhanush. This is again very important because Indradhanush exercise is a bilateral air exercise. Air exercise held between the Indian Air Force and the Royal Air Force of the United Kingdom. Next is exercise Ajay Warrior. Ajay Warrior. So you can also remember this exercise name. It is a military exercise between India and UK. So 3 exercises. One is Konkan, second is you can say Indradhanush, third is Ajay Warrior. All 3 are conducted with the United Kingdom, or you can say Britain. So these are very, very important. Now we are moving to next question. Which state became the first Indian state to provide smart health cards? Again, very important question because it is the first Indian state to provide smart health cards. And this state is, guys, Odisha. So answer of this question is B. You can see here the smiling face, little bit smiling face of Naveen Patnaik ji, the Chief Minister of Odisha, announced government will provide smart health cards to 3.5 crore people in the state under the Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana, aligned with Jan Arogya Yojana, or you can say Ayushman Bharat Prime Minister Jan Arogya Yojana. So on the lines of the Digital India, Odisha is all set to launch India's first smart health card scheme, covering almost 3.5 crore people of 96 lakh families under the Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana. Especially I am giving you these figures especially because of the Odisha students. 96 lakh families, 3.5 crore people it will cover. And the name of the scheme is Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana, and it is aligned with Jan Arogya Yojana. And remember, Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana was launched in the year of 2018, and it aims to provide universal health coverage with special emphasis on the health protection of economically vulnerable families. And through this scheme, central government health benefits can also be assessed, because the information for the same was provided by Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik ji while addressing the 75th Independence Day celebration in the Bhubaneswar, the capital of Odisha. And the objective behind Smart Health Card is to provide hassle-free quality treatment at the best available healthcare facility. And each family can avail treatment of rupees up to 5 lakh per annum. I already covered, because under the Jan Arogya Yojana, the same amount is provided to every family in per year. And women members can avail benefit of rupees 10 lakh annually. This is exceptional case. So you can remember, it is Odisha government which is providing this amount to the women, especially for the health coverage. It is 10 lakh, and for other members it is 5 lakh. So you can remember. And these cards will work like debit card for a certain amount, and the health benefits under this scheme can be availed in more than 200 hospital chain of the country, including Odisha. So this is very, very important. You have to remember the name of the scheme, Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana. And under this scheme, health cards, smart health cards will be provided to 3.5 crore people of the 96 lakh families. And this is state of Odisha. And Chief Minister, you know, Naveen Patnaik ji, and Governor is Ganeshi Lal. Ganeshi Lal. And guys, remember, very important national park is there, Simli Pal. Simli Pal National Park. It is also one of the biosphere reserve. Bhitarkanika National Park is also there. Bhitarkanika National Park. Chilika Lake is also in the state of Odisha. Remember, this is most important things which I am covering. Now we are moving to next question. So all the most important questions we covered. Now we are moving to very important question section. You have to like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform, and join our Telegram group from the description box link. Which union territory introduced Karkhandar scheme to uplift traditional handicrafts of the union territory? I am talking about union territory. So answer of this question is Jammu and Kashmir. The most active union territory is Jammu and Kashmir. And the government of Jammu and Kashmir, especially the Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, has introduced the Karkhandar scheme. You have to remember this, Karkhandar scheme, to support the local artisans and the weavers, and to promote the traditional handicrafts of the Jammu and Kashmir. And you can see here, government rolls out Karkhandar, who are basically doing work from their hands. So that's why they are known as Karkhandar. And this is a scheme to revive the traditional crafts of the Jammu and Kashmir. And the scheme will boost the crafts with high potential along with the crafts which fail to make any progress. And government will do marketing, and the income of these, you can say, craft makers can also be increased. The scheme aims to identify and provide skill upgradation training in the crafts that are facing a scarce human resource. And the scheme also aims to provide training in the field of handicraft sector. And the scheme will be implemented across the union territory through the Directorate of Handicrafts and Handloom, Jammu and Kashmir. And under this scheme, the meritorious trainees will give an honorary of 2000 per month. 2000 per month will be given to meritorious trainees, and all trainers will get rupees 2000 per month for each trainee. In addition, rupees 25,000 of one-time assistance for logistics, raw material, and others. It means every trainee will get 25,000 rupees. This is one-time assistance. 2000 rupees per month. This is provided to all trainees, but the meritorious trainees will also get extra 2000 rupees per month. So this is only for the meritorious students. The extra 2000 will be provided. So the main objective is to transfer the skill set of the master craftsmen to the younger generation, so that we can transfer the you can say skills to the younger generation, so that they can also do some work in the craft, and we can conserve, or we can sustain the traditional handicraft in the future generation. So this is most important. And guys, remember about Jammu and Kashmir, Lieutenant Governor or the Lieutenant Governor is Manoj Sinha. And you can also remember very important national parks like Dachigam National Park is there. Dachigam. Kishtwad National Park, very important. There is Salim Ali National Park. This is again very important, Salim Ali. And there is Gulmarg Wildlife Sanctuary. Gulmarg Wildlife Sanctuary. And guys, remember, Hemis National Park is not in Jammu and Kashmir. It is situated in Ladakh. Ladakh. Very important. Moving to next question. Who has appointed as the brand ambassador for Amway's Nutrilite range of products? Again, very important. And I am talking about very important company, Amway India. and who was appointed as the brand ambassador of this company. And the brand ambassador is one of 2020 Tokyo Olympics Olympian. Answer of this question is Saikhom Mirabai Channu. So answer of this question is D. So guys, remember, 26 years old weightlifter who belongs to Manipur, and she was appointed as the brand ambassador of Embase, and the product range is Nutrilite. So you can remember, Nutrilite is just a vitamin and the dietary supplement brand, and it is known for its plant-based approach to the dietary supplement. So the brand ambassador is Mirabai Channu, and she belongs to Manipur, and she belongs to which game? She belongs to weightlifting 49 kg category. So you can see here, as the brand ambassador, she will lead the company's campaign on its product range like Nutrilite Daily, Omega, and the all plant protein among others across various platforms. And guys, you can also remember about the Mirabai Channu. She is just 26 years old. Category is weightlifting. Category is 49 kg in 2020 Olympics Games. And she has been placed second on the absolute ranking list issued by the International Weightlifting Federation on the second position in the weightlifting category. And guys, remember, yesterday we covered question about Neeraj Chopra. Neeraj Chopra is also on the second all over the world javelin throw list, and she was honored with the Khel Ratna. This Mirabai Channu also honored with the Khel Ratna award in 2018. Khel Ratna award in 2018. So guys, remember these things about the Mirabai Channu. And next is again one question under this question. Olympian PR Shri Jesh to be named brand ambassador of adventure tourism in Kerala. Again guys, it is very important because Olympian PR Shri Jesh, goalkeeper and the former captain of the Indian national hockey team. So this player belongs to hockey, and hockey team in 2020 Olympics won bronze medal. So again, this is very important, and he was named as the brand ambassador of the adventure tourism in Kerala. And this player is, remember, goalkeeper and former captain of Indian hockey team. And PR Shriyesh was a part of Indian hockey team that won the bronze medal at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic game. And PR Shrijesh belongs to Kerala. Exact is Ernakulam. District is Ernakulam, but he belongs to Kerala. So guys, remember, these players are very, very important. Like Neeraj Chopra, all you know that he belongs to athletics game, and especially the javelin throw. And 7th of August every year will be celebrated as National Javelin Throw Day, and he won the second gold medal for India in the individual category. Next is Lovlina Borgohain. Lovlina Borgohain won the bronze medal, in the boxing category. And this is again very important. Ravi Kumar Daya, again very famous player from Haryana, and he won the silver medal in wrestling. And you can say he won in the 57 kg category. So you can remember these names. These are very, very important. Moving to next question. CCAT 2021, an annual multilateral naval exercise held in which country? It means this exercise was hosted by which country? This exercise was hosted by Singapore. So guys, remember, examiner will not ask that this exercise was in between which country, because it was held between 21 country navy. So that's why it cannot be asked. But this exercise is led by United States of America. This can be asked. So guys, remember, 21 countries participated in this exercise, like India, Australia, Bangladesh, Canada, Germany, France. These countries participated in this exercise, and this exercise led by United States of America, but it was held in Singapore. So guys, you can see here, the Indian Navy participated in the United States Navy led exercise Southeast Asia Cooperation and Training. This is the meaning of CCAT. What is the meaning? I am repeating myself. Southeast Asia, C stands for Southeast Asia, CAT stands for Cooperation and Training. This is the meaning of CCAT. And it is an annual multilateral naval exercise held in Singapore virtually. And this is the 20th edition of this exercise. 20th edition of this exercise. The main objective, or you can say main aim, is to foster enhanced cooperation between Southeast Asian countries by incorporating tactics, standardized training and procedures to combat contingencies or illegal activities in the maritime domain. And remember, 21 countries participated in this exercise, or navies of 21 countries participated in this exercise. I already covered some countries like India is there, Canada is there, Brunei is there, Bangladesh is there, Australia is there, USA led this exercise, and this exercise held in Singapore. And guys, remember this exercise CCAT basically began in 2002. First time it was held in 2002, and Southeast Asia Cooperation Against Terrorism. In 2020, the exercise was conducted as a part of virtual due to COVID-19 pandemic. So you have to just remember the name of the exercise. And what is the full form of this CCAT? I am again repeating so that you can remember. C stand for Southeast Asia, CAT stand for Cooperation and Training. Moving to next question. Which bank launched Fruits portal to store the farmers' land detail? Again, very important question because we are talking about one portal and very important portal, and name of this portal is, guys, Fruits. Fruits. First of all, you have to remember what is the meaning of this fruit. So this is related to farmers' land detail. So F stands for farmer, R stands for registration, and U stands for unified, I stands for information system. So you have to remember farmers registration and unified beneficiary information system. So this is the meaning of Fruits, and this is just to get the details, land details of the farmers of which state. I am talking about Karnataka because it is exclusively launched by Karnataka government with the help of Karnataka Vikas Gramin Bank. So answer of this question is C. So you can see here the Karnataka Vikas Gramin Bank made a partnership with the Karnataka government and launched this Fruits portal, guys. Remember Fruits portal specially to store the farmers' land detail. And its meaning is farmer registration and unified beneficiary information system, that is known as Fruit. And the portal is the first of its kind initiative in India by the Karnataka government to gather the land details of the farmers. Now the Fruits portal was launched by this Karnataka Vikas Gramin Bank as a pilot project in the Karnataka, and the Karnataka government plans to launch it in other financial institutions also. And under this portal, all the farmers of the state, will be registered under this portal and given a Fruits ID, which is also known as FID, number comprising Aadhaar card, land record, and the mobile number. The FID number will be used by the financial and the lending institution to know the detail of the land of the farmer while lending, because we have to pledge some collateral so that we can take loan from the bank or the financial institutions. So that's why the bank or the financial institutions can use this FID so that they can get the detail and they can give loan to the farmer. And the portal will act as an organized farmer database, and it will overcome the difficulties faced by farmers while availing benefits. So this is again very good system which was started by Karnataka government and the Karnataka Vikas Gramin Bank for the farmers. So guys, remember this is Karnataka Vikas Gramin Bank. Karnataka Vikas Gramin Bank was established in 2005. Its headquarter in Karnataka is Dharwad. Headquarter is in Dharwad district of Karnataka, and chairman is P. Gopi Krishna. And Chief Minister, you have to remember the new Chief Minister of Karnataka is Basavaraj Bommai. Full name is Basavaraj Bommai. And guys, Governor is Thawarchand Gehlot. Again, very important question. This question will come in SBI. Thawarchand Gehlot. And very important national parks are there. Like Kali Tiger Reserve is there. Dandeli Tiger Reserve is also there. Very important, Dandeli. Banerghatta National Park. Bandipur National Park is also there. Bandipur. Kudremukh is also there. Nagarhole is also there. So these are very, very important national parks in Karnataka. Moving to next question. A book titled Lahore, book 1 of the Partition trilogy, authored by whom? This is the first part of the book because it is a trilogy. It means 3 parts will come. This is the first part, and the name of the book, the important name of the book is Lahore, and it tells about the partition of India especially, and it is authored by a very famous author. Name of this author is none of these, guys. None of these. So answer of this question is, you can see here, it is Manpreet Sodhi Someshwar. This is the full name of this author, very famous author. And she wrote a book, Lahore, book 1 of the Partition trilogy. It is basically published by HarperCollins. And guys, remember this book is very important because it tells us about the partition of India. So you have to remember, answer of this question is not in the option. Answer of this question is Manpreet Sodhi Someshwar. I will definitely cover this question later on, but you have to remember this book, Lahore, book 1 of the Partition trilogy, is the first book of the trilogy set to discuss about the Lahore, the effects of the partition on ordinary people and the women. And the Partition trilogy is a result of 20 years of efforts to research and write the events that are associated with the independence. And he has authored several books, including one book is like The Long Walk Home. She also authored this book, and Girls and the City, And a very important book is Mehrunisa. You can remember Mehrunisa trilogy. This is you can say the Taj Conspiracy and the Hunt for Kohinoor, and it is a you can say a 3-book series. Again, it is a thriller series featuring Mehrunisa. Mehrunisa basically a name of Noor Jahan. Noor Jahan. So you can also remember this. And guys, remember book name is Lahore, and this book is authored by very famous author Manpreet Sodhi Someshwar. But other options are again very important. First of all, I have to rub this, then we can see the options. Shrinath Raghavan is very important, and even Venu Madhav Govindu is very important because both wrote a book combinedly. The name of the book is The Fourth Line. The Fourth Line. Remember the name of the book. It is basically Essays for Gopalakrishnan Gandhi, or Essays for Gopalakrishnan Gandhi. Kavitha Rao, she recently wrote a book, Lady Doctors. Lady Doctors. The untold stories of the India's first women in medicine, how they sacrificed, and the country didn't recognize these doctors. So that's why this book is about the lady doctors. So remember this. Moving to next question. Pay Nearby has collaborated with Visa and which bank to launch soft POS and MPOS for its retail network? First of all, you have to remember what is this soft POS, point of sale, and what is this MPOS. Soft POS allows merchants to accept contactless payments of up to rupees 5,000 through tap and pay mechanism on near field communication enabled smartphones. So it can be done through smartphones through near field communication, and maximum payment is 5,000, and it is a contactless payment system. Next is MPOS. It is mobile point of sale system, and machine allows easy acceptance of cards. Easy acceptance of cards. It is a contactless payment through smartphones, and MPOS is payment through cards. So this is two type of system, and Pay Nearby has collaborated with Visa, and the bank name is RBL Bank to launch this soft POS and MPOS for its retail network. And you can also see here Pay Nearby ties up with the RBL Bank and Visa for the payment devices. And with this, as per Pay Nearby, it becomes the first company to launch an inclusive digital package for the retailers. It means they will distribute this Pay Nearby will distribute this MPOS and the sale, or you can say this soft POS machines to the retailers. And soft POS I already covered, MPOS I already covered, and the reason behind the above launches is to expand the number of acceptance point for easy and the fast digital payment, so that everyone can do digital payments through these type of the system like soft POS and the MPOS. Other merchants, an all-inclusive digital payment hub that ensures easy acceptance across different form factors and simplifies both merchant and the customer by default. If you're using this MPOS system or soft POS system, it is very beneficial both for the merchants and as well as for the customer. So guys, remember about Pay Nearby. This is very important for you. Pay Nearby is basically, you can say, it comes under the Department for Promotion and Industry and Internal Trade, which is also known as DPIIT, certified financial technological company registered under the Startup India program of the Government of India. And this Pay Nearby was established in 2016, headquarters in Mumbai. Its founder and CEO, remember, founder and CEO is Anand Kumar Bajaj. Anand Kumar Bajaj. Moving to next question. Which country hosted 6th SCO meet agriculture ministers? So it is agriculture ministers meeting of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And guys, remember who is currently the president. It means 2021 presidentship lies SCO with which country? It is Tajikistan. So answer of this question is A. So guys, remember the meeting was held virtually from Dushanbe. Dushanbe is a capital of you can say Tajikistan, and it was held under the chairman of Tajikistan because 2021 presidentship lies with Tajikistan. And from Indian side, it is represented by our Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister Narendra Singh Tomar ji. And guys, remember Tajikistan appreciated the performance of the agriculture sector in India during the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. And the Agriculture Minister of India stated that food production export have registered a significant growth in India, especially in the COVID-19. And you can also remember about this organization. That's why I am covering this question in the very important section about Shanghai Cooperation Organization. 2021 chairmanship lies with Tajikistan. Total member countries are 8. 4 you can see here: Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan. This is confusing, so you have to remember Tajiki, Kazakh, Kyrgy, and Uzbekistan. These 4, and 4 are China, Pakistan, India, and Russia. So these 4 and these 4 become 8. So it means total member countries are 8. And its headquarters is in Beijing. headquarters is in Beijing, and India and Pakistan become its permanent member in year of 2017. And guys, remember Ministry of Agriculture, Narendra Singh Tomar ji, constituency is Morena in Madhya Pradesh. Morena, Madhya Pradesh. Moving to next question. Which state signed memorandum of agreement with Northeastern Electric Power Corporation for the 2 hydropower projects? This is very important news, especially for the northeastern states. All the options belongs to northeastern states, because if you see, in the past, all the contracts with the private companies were cancelled due to non-completion of the project. That's why the state government signed an agreement with the Northeastern Electric Power Corporation for 2 hydroelectric projects, and this state is Arunachal Pradesh. So guys, you can remember here, Arunachal Pradesh signs pact with this organization for development of the 2 hydropower project, and name of this organization is very important. So name of this organization is Northeastern Electric Power Corporation, especially for the northeastern state. And first project is 90 megawatt, and it is new Meling project in the Tawang district. Next is 120 megawatt Nafra project. It is in the West Kameng district. So guys, you have to remember Nafra project and the Meling project. Examiner can ask that this was currently in news and it is situated in which state. So you have to remember it is situated in Arunachal Pradesh. And earlier the state government allocated projected to the private companies for the commissioning of these hydro projects, but they failed to do so, which led to termination of the contract with the private companies. So this company, this is very important, like Northeastern Electric Power Corporation Limited. It is a, you can say, mini Ratna category company under the Central Public Sector Enterprise, and it is the largest hydro project is in Kameng district, like 600 megawatt project, which is currently in Arunachal Pradesh. And guys, you can also remember total projects are 6 under this company, and total capacity installed under this company is 1325 megawatt. Again, this is very important, and this company was established in 1976, especially for the northeastern students. Headquarters is in Shillong. Shillong is in Meghalaya. And guys, remember about Arunachal Pradesh, very important state here. Arunachal Pradesh, you can remember about Arunachal Pradesh. Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister is Pema Khandu. You can remember Pema Khandu ji, and governor is Brigadier B.D. Mishra, retired Brigadier B.D. Mishra. So you can remember, very important national park is there, guys. Moling National Park is there. Packet Tiger Reserve is also there. Namdapha National Park is there. So these are very important. Moling National Park, Packet Tiger Reserve, and Namdapha National Park all are situated in Arunachal Pradesh. Now we are moving to next question. Which park became India's first national park to be equipped with the satellite phones? Again, very important, because it is the first national park in India who is equipped with the satellite phones now. And the Chief Secretary of this state presented 10 satellite phones to the forest personnel at this national park. And this national park is the most important national park of India. This is the Kaziranga National Park, very much known for the one-horned rhino. So remember, it is situated in the state of Assam. So Chief Secretary of Assam presented these 10 satellite phones to the forest personnel at the Kaziranga National Park. And it is an initiative to boost the anti-poaching measures in the park. And the 10 satellite phones were procured by the Assam State Disaster Management Authority at an estimated cost of 16 lakh rupees. And the meeting, chaired by Dr. Himant Biswa Sharma, who is currently the Chief Minister of Assam, decided to provide the satellite phones to the forest personnel of the park. And who is the service provider company? It is BSNL. Remember, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited will be the service provider to these satellite phones. So guys, this is very important, but you have to remember other national park. Ranthambore National Park is situated in Rajasthan. Manas National Park is situated in Assam, and Silent Valley National Park is situated in Kerala. So these are again very important. Now moving to next question. Narendra Singh Tomar ji inaugurated the world's second largest refurbished gene bank in which state or union territory? So the most important thing under this question, that our Union Agriculture Minister inaugurated the world's second largest refurbished, it means it is repaired, gene bank in which state or union territory? So answer of this question is New Delhi. So answer is B. So on the 16th of August 2021, that is after one day of 15th of August, Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar ji, Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, inaugurated the world's second largest refurbished state-of-the-art national gene bank at the National Bureau Plant Genetic Resource in New Delhi. So guys, remember, the building is National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, which is situated in New Delhi. So you can see here Narendra Singh Tomar ji, who is inaugurating National Gene Bank. This is refurbished gene bank. And you can see here it is world's second largest refurbished, and this will cater the need of biofortified crop varieties. So the most important keyword here is the biofortified. Biofortification is the process by which the nutritional quality of the food crops is improved. So this is biofortified crop varieties. And remember about National Gene Bank is established in 1996, because we are now talking about refurbished. It means repaired. Its aim to be preserve the seeds of plant genetic resources for future generation. It has capacity to preserve about 1 million germplasm in the form of seeds, and germplasm is a living tissue from which new plants can be grown. So this is 1 million germplasm. That is a huge thing. So guys, remember about National Gene Bank. It was established in 1996 in New Delhi, and world's second largest refurbished gene bank was also inaugurated in New Delhi. So remember this. This is just a simple question. You can just remember as in the slide. Next, RBI introduces Financial Inclusion Index. Again, very important, especially for the banking students, because this is FI index, or you can say it is Financial Inclusion Index. And guys, this will be published annually in the month of July for the financial year ending previous of March. In simple word, you can say that if the financial year index for 2021, we are saying it is the period ending March 2021. And remember, for the period of financial 21, it is 9 as against 43.4 in the financial year 17. So it is very much low, you can say 9, because the single value ranging between 0 to 100 will be provided under the index for various factors of the financial inclusion. And guys, remember, the value 0 represents complete financial exclusion and 100 means complete financial inclusion. So the number is 9. It means we are not fully, you can say, excluded, or you can say we are not in the stage of financial exclusion. We are somehow in the financial inclusion, but the number is 9. So you have to remember this single value for the financial year 21. And this financial inclusion index contains 3 different parameters with variant weightage, like accessibility 35% weightage, uses 45% weightage, and quality 20% weightage, total 100%. And guys, remember, maximum weight is given to the uses. And in April 2021, at the bi-monthly monetary policy, RBI has mentioned about the construction and periodic publication of the Financial Inclusion Index. And guys, remember, this Financial Inclusion Index will contain the detail of the banking, investment, insurance, postal, and the pension sector in the consultation with the government and the respective sectoral regulations. And even total indicators which are used to determine this Financial Inclusion Index are 97. The index will contain information regarding the ease of access, availability, and uses of services and quality of services in all 97 indicator. And guys, remember, the Financial Inclusion Index will reflect the efforts of all stakeholders over the year towards financial inclusion. So that's why it has no base year. So the important points are I am just erasing this. Remember, 3 different parameters. You have to remember the weightage, accessibility, uses, and the quality. Next, 0 to 100. 0 means fully financial exclusion, and 100 means fully financial inclusion. And in financial year 21, the number is 9. It means we are towards the exclusion stage. So you have to remember this. Total indicators 97 and no base year. So this is very, very important, and it will be published in the month of July for financial year which ended on the March. So you have to remember. Moving to next section. It is our important question section. You have to like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. And guys, remember, please join our Telegram group from the description box link. Indra is a joint biennial military exercise started in which year between India and Russia? So all the students, I think, know that Indra is a joint military exercise between India and Russia. So it was started in which year? First time it was happened in the year of 2003. So answer, very simple question. Just remember the question as in slide. Recently 12th edition of Indra exercise, a bilateral military exercise held between the Indian Army and military forces of Russian Federation in Russia. It happened in Russia from 1st of August to 13th of August. And it will further strengthen and mutual confidence, and you can say between the Indian and the Russian armies, and enable sharing of best practices between the contingents of both the countries. And Indra is a joint military exercise which was started first time in 2003 between India and Russia. Next is retro tax law scrapped. Again, very important. And Taxation Law Act 2021 gets presidential assent. It means Ramnath Kovindji has given assent to the new Taxation Law Amendment Bill 2021, which amends Income Tax Act of 1961, Income Tax Act of 1961 and Financial Act of 2012. So it amended Income Tax Act of 1961 and Financial Act of 2012, and they scrapped this retro tax law. So it is to nullify retrospective tax provision and end retrospective taxes imposed on the indirect transfer of the Indian assets made before 28th of May 2012. And the bill was introduced by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the Lok Sabha as a money bill. And the new bill aims to nullify the retrospective basis for the taxation. But is retrospective tax? So this is important thing. Retrospective tax means to pay tax for the goods and services purchased in the past or income earned in the past. So you have to pay the tax now, but you earned the income in the past or you purchased the goods and services in the past. So that's why you are paying the tax. So it is retrospective tax. So this is now scrapped. So you have to remember this. Moving to our one-liner important point, and we have to change the color so that you can see 3 new wild balsam plant species identified in Kerala. So again, it is not so much important, but you have to remember this line. 3 new wild balsam species belonging to, you can say, the Western Ghats region of the southern Kerala, and it is found in the Idukki district of the Kerala. And out of 3 species, 2 are basically named after, you can say, one is named after V.S. Achutyanandan, the former Chief Minister of Kerala, and one is named after K.K. Shalja, who was the former Health Minister of Kerala, as an honor to their contribution in the environmental protection and containing COVID-19 spread in Kerala. So one is with the name of the V.S. Achutyanandan, the former Chief Minister of Kerala, and second is with the name of the K.K. Shalja, who was the former Health Minister of Kerala. And third species was named after Dr. Matthew Dan. Dr. Matthew Dan, Principal Scientist at Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Biotechnic Garden and Research Institute in the Trivandrum, Kerala, for his contribution to the systematics and conservation of the, you can say, angiosperms in the Western Ghats. Next, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, first ever civil aircraft, Hindustan 228 carries ground run and LSTT. So first of all, you have to remember it is related to Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and name of the first civilian aircraft is Hindustan 228. You can remember very easily with the name of the company, and it has carried out ground run and low speed taxi trial. LSTT stands for low speed taxi trial successfully at its facility in the Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. It is the first fixed wing made in the India civil aircraft, and it can be used in various roles like VIP transport, parajumping, cloud seeding, aerial surveillance, photography, passenger transport, air ambulance, in-flight inspection role, and other things. But you have to remember the name of the company, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Managing Director is R. Madhavan, and headquarters is in Bengaluru, Karnataka. 69 employees received Prime Minister Shram Award 2018. So again, it is not so much important, but you have to just remember that total 69 employees won this award. Next, SBI Life Insurance launched new insurance plan, SBI Life eShield next. So it is SBI Life Insurance who launched a new individual, non-linked, non-participating life insurance solution named SBI Life eShield next. And it will level up, improve the protection coverage of the insured person when he achieves life major milestone like getting married, becoming a parent, or buying a new house. So it has 3 different plan options such as level cover, increasing cover, and level cover with the future proofing benefit. So you have to remember the most important thing, SBI Life Insurance. It was established in the year of 2000. Its headquarters is in Mumbai, guys. MD and CEO is Mahesh Kumar Sharma. Mahesh Kumar Sharma. Tagline is with us, you are sure. You are sure. So this is the tagline. Moving to next point. SEBI set up a panel to analyze the shift of trade settlement cycle from T+2 to T+1. So it is again very important. This is not a question, basically this is information. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has set up a panel to experts to analyze the process of shifting India trade settlement cycle from the current T+2. T+2 stands for trade plus 2 days, and to T+1, it means trade plus 1 day. The panel consists of experts from exchanges, clearing corporations, and depositories. The shift to T+1 will reduce the settlement time and risk involved and increase the liquidity and trade turnover. So you can remember T stands for T in the transaction date, and abbreviation T+1, T+2 and T+3 refers to the settlement dates of the security transactions that occur on a transaction date plus 1 day, plus 2 day, plus 3 day. So in simple word, you can say in the case of T+1 settlement, the shares would be transferred to the buyer's demat account after transaction day. Otherwise, it was transferred after 2 days, but now it can be transferred after 1 day, in simple words. So you have to remember about SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. It was established in 1988, but it becomes statutory body in 1992, and it means the SEBI Act was passed in 1992. Currently head is Ajay Tyagi. Its headquarters is in Mumbai. Next, sports minister, our new sports minister Anurag Singh Thakurji launched Fit India Freedom Run 2.0. Again, Union Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Anurag Singh Thakurji launched this nationwide program, which is known as Fit India Freedom Run 2.0, as a part of celebrating 75 year of India's independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The program, which was started on the 15th of August 2021, and it will be ended on the Gandhiji birthday, like 2nd of October 2021. And the program will be organized in 75 villages. Remember, it will be organized in 75 villages in each of the 744 districts, around 3,000, not 3,000, it is 30,000 educational institutions across India. And Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports, Nitish Pramanik ji, also joined this launch. But you have to remember Anurag Thakur constituency is Hamirpur. Hamirpur is in which state? It is in Himachal Pradesh. Moving to next section, it is our question of the day. 17th of August 2021 question was, chit funds in India are governed and regulated by. First of all, you have to remember what are chit funds. Chit funds are, like you can say, a popular type of saving institutions. Saving institutions in India. It is one of the main parts of the unorganized money market industry. It refers to an agreement by a group of individuals to invest a certain amount through periodic installments over a specific period of time. So in simple word, you can say that the system acts as a borrowing scheme because subscribers, or you can say the members, are able to assess large sum of money before they are paid the full amount. It also acts as a saving system because each subscriber or each member contributes every month and may retrieve a large sum of in the future while receiving their share of the surpluses. So this is again very important fund, and this is a very traditional name, that is chit fund. And the chit fund provides access to saving and borrowings for people with the limited access to the banking facility. And this comes under the Chit Fund Act of 1982. And they are governed through the central legislation. Remember, they are governed through the central legislation, but they are administered through the state government. So answer of this question is C, because they are governed and regulated by the state government. So answer of this question is C. So remember, very important question, what are chit funds and who regulated this. Moving to next question of the day, and it is, who is author of Poverty and Famine? So guys, again very important book, and it is related to economy, and very important person guys. You have to tell me answer in the comment box. I am waiting your answer. Even with the year you have to provide this answer. So please like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. And guys, please like this video and share this video, and press this bell button so that you can receive the notification, and you can join Telegram group from the description box link. And it is a Affairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section, definitely. And guys, thank you so much for watching this video, but don't take life so much serious. Life is fun. Always be happy like this smiley. Your exam will clear definitely. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye.